guys, Ryan with the Driven Channel. I am here with Zach Pappas.
Hey guys.
Zach has been making a lot of noise lately in the Volkswagen community because his GTI was featured on, Volkswagen's, was it their Facebook? Or
It was on their main
Facebook,
page and their face page.
Right, their Facebook, their Twitter, it was all over the place. Well, apparently, the funny thing about the things that Volkswagen said about this car was they're trying to apparently get kind of into the sort of subculture of modified cars and say, hey, this is really cool that we can modify cars and you can modify your Volkswagen. But at the very bottom, and I'll put a link to this in the video, but at the very bottom on all of the pictures, every single one, it's got a disclaimer saying something to the effect of, you ruined your car, Zach. We will not warranty your car, which is funny because Zach's car is now 15 years old. 15 years. And has how many miles? 125,000 miles? Volkswagen, you don't have to worry about warrantying Zach's car anymore, okay? It's an awesome car. But the thing that's really cool is that a big internet website that some of you may have heard of called JALOPNIK, I've been a big JALOPNIK fan for many, many years, has put out an article. David Tracy is the guy who wrote it, and it's kind of full of flaws, and I kind of wanted to point some of those things out. So I'm going to pull up my little cell phone right here, and I'm going to read just a little bit of the article here that David Tracy wrote about Volkswagen. Now, keep in mind that David Tracy is a Jeep guy, so he knows nothing about Volkswagens. So anyway, and that's pretty obvious in the article too. So he starts it by saying, "Hey VW Vortex Forum dude, you'll be happy to know that the automaker is a big fan of your 6-slam Jetta with faux BBS wheels, rolled fenders, and fart can exhaust. But don't be too happy, because VW is not that big of a fan. It's only, like, sort of a fan. Like, in the way that the Detroiters are fans of the Lions. They'll ditch them as soon as shit goes down." Anyway, it goes on to talk more about Volkswagen's love of your modded Volkswagen. But, you know, obviously one to disassociate themselves from anything that might be any kind of legal trouble, right, in modifying your car. Which I guess, given Volkswagen's current situation with Dieselgate and all of that kind of stuff, it makes sense. It totally makes sense. But David Tracy, this is for you, bro. This is a GTI, not a Jetta. Not a Jetta, okay? This has, what kind of exhaust system does this have?
A MagnaFlow catback exhaust.
MagnaFlow catback. We're gonna hear it right now. Oh man.
No fart count.
Okay, no fart can on this car. An absolutely gorgeous sounding exhaust, which you're gonna hear an exhaust clip of. How about right now? Okay, you've heard the exhaust. You know it's not a fart can. This thing sounds badass, and he's offered to take me for a little ride in it here. So I just wanted to say, David Tracy, I disagree with you. I do think that maybe you're jealous because Volkswagens are ever so slightly more reliable than, Jeeps are ever so slightly less reliable than Volkswagens. So, sorry David Tracy, you're wrong. This guy's car is awesome, not a 6-slammed Jetta with faux BBS wheels. What kind of wheels are these?
These are ESR 001s. They're technically a rep of...
Okay, so they're kind of a faux BBS wheels. Yeah. You were right on one count, but that's all I'm going to give you. Anyway, so we're going to drive around here a little bit and kind of talk Volkswagens. Me and Zach have been doing some Volkswagen stuff lately. He went to the Euro meet. Was that last weekend? It was 2 weeks ago. I just put the video out on that this morning, actually, so you can watch that as well. But went on a nice cruise, and this thing did pretty well on the cruise.
It did all right.
It didn't quite keep up with all the Stage 2 and Stage 3 cars, right? But you know, I mean, you can't really do that unless you're like a Viper.
For a mildly built car on bags, I did okay.
Yeah, and I've been riding around in this thing here for a couple of minutes, and you know, people say that that putting bags on cars ruins cars. I think this thing rides nice and smooth. Actually, if I had to say, I would say this thing probably rides at least as smooth as my Volkswagen on stock springs. But it looks way, way cooler. Oh, also, do you have rolled fenders?
Yes, the front and rear are rolled.
Really?
Front
They're
rolled
so
more,
smooth.
Front rolled more than the rear.
Okay. A lot of times you see rolled fenders on Volkswagens.
A lot of
and
waves.
It looks like bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they call it the bacon fender whenever you see the rolled fenders, and it's just crinkly and ugly. And actually, I know a couple of guys who have rolled fenders like that. It's kind of sketchy, but these look awesome. Regardless, this car looks sick. Actually, this last weekend were in a car show. Me and Zach were literally competing with each other, and y'all can probably guess who won. This guy. Now, not to spoil the surprise, but I did win a category that you might not expect. Anyway, that's for another video. So me and him are just kind of cruising around here in his Volkswagen, and I gotta be honest with you, Zach, I am falling absolutely in love with the exhaust note on this car.
Makes a great sound.
Yeah, and it's kind of making me want to kind of join that VR6 life.
Hey, come on over anytime.
I don't know, maybe an R32 might be in my future.
There's one in my future too, don't worry.
Okay, yeah, oh man. God, this
I
thing
want to have one of those for road racing.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And I love the way my car sounds because I think it kind of sounds like a Ferrari. Anyway, there's exhaust clips in my car all over my YouTube page. But this thing just sounds, I don't even know how to explain it.
It's got a low note rumble.
In like a, just that mid-range scream. Anyway, I'm gonna have to listen to these exhaust clips when I get home late at night when I'm by myself. See, we just hit some holes in the road and it wasn't that bad. And this thing pulls hard. But we're not breaking the speed limit because we're on a closed course. That's what we do here on the Driven channel. We have a closed course. We set it up for you. We make it look exactly like it's on the open road.
Right.
Stoplights, other cars on the road.
It's all staged.
It's all just a closed course with professional drivers. You're a professional driver?
Absolutely.
Right, and I'm a professional rider. Anyway, so I wanted, on the Driven channel, we like to ask a few questions about like your car and your car past, and
Absolutely.
What got you into Volkswagens?
Roughly 6-7 years ago, there was a guy who had a Golf, of course.
Of course, it always starts with the Golf.
And he started talking about how they handled on corners and how when you get into them and you drop down a gear, they kind of suck down and go. And I bought a Mark IV Jetta shortly after that.
Okay.
118. And I started building it. I had a KO4 upgrade. I had a bunch of the bolt-on add-ons. I had the Unitronic Stage 2 Plus tune. I was pushing 18 pounds of boost on a regular day. When I really wanted to play, I could pull 21.
Dang.
Just all-around fun car. It got a lot of attention, a lot of bad attention where I came from.
Okay.
Black car, or midnight blue, blacked out wheels, blacked out windows, 3-inch exhaust from header back. No mufflers in between, just straight exhaust.
So it was really loud.
So it was loud, and I would get pulled over 6 times a week just for the way it looked and stood. So I just got tired of it, and I stepped up to the Volkswagen CC.
Nice.
And I got the 09, which is the first production year. It's a 3.6 liter VR6,
which is the best one you could have gotten.
It is the best engine I've ever had in a car. And yeah, I know some of the guys out there said he's only owned maybe 5 cars to say that car pulls and has power. You're right, but wrong. I've owned a lot more than 5 cars, just nothing with extremely high horsepower.
Right.
I've driven a couple RX-7s that would, blow your mind out of the water with the way they pulled, and they don't pull anything like a Volkswagen. But for what it is, it pulls and it drives great. I love them. I love my CC probably just as much, if not more. It's next to be customized. They handle wonderful. They drive good. And neither one of these cars, since I've owned them, have given me one mechanical issue.
Other than maybe a check engine light?
Occasionally. I just cleared one on the CC yesterday, actually.
It's funny. I just cleared one on my car yesterday too. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about check engine lights today because we get to talk about check engine lights a lot. So anyway, you were telling me a story earlier when we were up back at the shop, and you were telling me that the night before, what was it, Soho?
The night before Soho, yeah. This car was still in pieces the night before I drove it 1,000 miles to Savannah, Georgia to go to my first large European-based car show. and which was so well European Experience 2017.
Which is where the pictures were taken.
Which is where the pictures were taken.
That started the fame on this car.
That have gone viral on this car. Well, the night before, I still had a roof to wrap, interior parts to paint, and several other pieces to put together, including calipers being painted and everything being cleaned and prepped. Well, I got off work at 6 o'clock, and I left my shop at 1:30 in the morning. Went home, finished packing the rest of my stuff, got my family loaded up in my little old Golf GTI, and we drove this car 1,000 miles to Savannah, Georgia.
Wow.
Not one flaw all the way there. Drove flawlessly. Air conditioning works, as you can feel, so we still stay cold the whole way there.
So you're working on like 3 or 4 hours of sleep before you, or do you just do it all night?
No, I did take a couple hours sleep because I had to drive the whole way.
Wow.
So you know, it was a great time building up. I've even got some pre-pictures, prior to going to the show, and little things that my son was helping me do with my fiance to the car, and just getting things ready to go. And yeah, so 6 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, I woke up. We loaded the car up and we started driving to Savannah, Georgia.
Awesome. So the things that we do to get ready for shows. And you basically just get your car prepped for the weekend or whatever you're doing. That's sort of what the Driven Channel is all about. We're trying to figure out why people do this stuff. I know why, and you know why. But you know, I think the people out there, they have no idea. You know, the culture is so family-like. You probably went down there and immediately people were just talking to you like they were your brother.
I've got 6 people that I close stay in contact since then. One guy lives in Virginia, one guy lives in Georgia, one guy lives in New York, and another guy lives in Texas.
That's what it's all about.
You know, and those are just the people that I met closest to where I parked at the car meet, at the car show. And there's a couple guys that were at the hotels we stayed at that I still stay in touch with. And every single one of them had Golfs. Couple R32s, couple Golf Rs.
Nice.
I got a guy in New York that's got a couple motors. If anybody needs a Golf R32 motor, hit me up.
There you go.
You know, so it was a great time. I'm actually already planned for next year. I'm planning on staying a lot closer. I stayed like 40 miles from the show, which I don't recommend doing if you can help it. It's a lot of driving, a lot of extra driving.
Is it just a weekend show?
I left on a Thursday, or I left on a Wednesday, got there on Thursday, and I left on Monday. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But Thursday was the beach day, the pre-day, and they have all these mini meets before, after, during, all over the place in Savannah. So, and it's a great time. And not only that, but in Savannah, there's a place called Warslow. It's one of the oldest historic societies and the oldest plantation left.
Really?
It's completely lined with live oak trees. Some of the best photography shots you will ever get of any of your vehicles. Period. So if you can get down to Savannah, Georgia, find Warslow, go in there, you pay like $10 for the day. It's like a 2-mile tour. You get to see all this old plantation stuff. There's a blacksmith's off at the shop there, but you get all these photos under these live oak trees, and let me tell you, it's some of the most beautiful stuff you can find. You can get out there for shots. I will give Ryan a link to some of the photos I took.
Definitely.
So you can see kind of what I mean by the beauty behind the shots. And these were taken with a broken cell phone screen. So a broken cell phone camera lens, actually. So the quality of my shots is not going to be quite what you see from a lot of guys, but I still was able to get some great shots and some memories that are never going to leave.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking about maybe doing something like that next year. But
hey, let's take a trip down there.
It all kind of depends on how things are going with my work and if I can take that much time off. It's so hard to take time off because we both work in the automotive repair business,
and we're both management,
and we're both in management. So it's so difficult for us to get like 4 or 5 days off. You have no idea.
In a row.
Yeah, and the last time I did it, I went to Scotland. So.
Wow.
But anyway, I got a lot of cool pictures of some European cars there.
I can imagine.
Volkswagen Scirocco's. Anyway, we're gonna get distracted talking about cars.
Right.
Like we always do. I call them car distractions. But
car distractions.
So anyway, Zach, I want to thank you very much for coming out here. It is like after work. You worked a hard, long day. We both did, but I think you worked a couple more hours than I did today.
7:30 to 7:30.
12-hour shift to my like 10 and a half. Whatever.
It's all right.
Anyway, so I appreciate you staying late, driving around. I know you got to head to St. Louis either tonight or tomorrow for a thing that you're doing for work. But I appreciate you coming out here and talking Volkswagens with me and, proving David Tracy from JALOPNIK totally wrong!
Wrong.
Except for they are faux BBS, and he does have rolled fenders. But they're nicely rolled fenders.
That's right.
Not a Jetta. Anyway,
Right,
shake
thank
hands
you
real
very
quick
much.
because you're
Appreciate
shifting
it.
gears, and we will see you guys on the next video.
Thanks, guys.